Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Green Room Podcast. I'm Matthew Bruni, and joining me is an equally disheveled Colin Mitchell.
Yeah,
Colin, it's about 12 o'clock midnight. How are you?
I'm good, I guess. I don't know. North Texas just lost to FIU. That was one of our three gimme games. Gimme games. Um, we talked. We came on here saying they won by 41 last year, won by 38 the year before. I think we had the over under at 31 and a half. Whatever. Whenever we finally get to our pick'ems. Yeah, they lost 46-39, Bruni. So it went as bad as the game went as bad as it could have gone.
Yeah, literally.
There's a lot to talk about. We can't. I don't think we're going to be able to talk about everything, but we'll talk about the stuff that I guess
Where do you want
matters
to
for now.
start? Where do you want to start?
Let's just start with
Like, what stood out to you the most?
Stone Earl is not a starting quarterback on this team. So, for those who don't know the backstory, Bruni was live tweeting the first half. I was live tweeting the second half. I didn't watch the first half until like an hour and a half ago. I just knew Chandler Rogers was in, and I saw the stats.
Yeah.
It was pick Stone, pick FIU, pick Stone again, and then FIU scored, and then Stone would have thrown another pick if the guy didn't get called for targeting, and they were bad picks, and like just passes thrown behind the receiver. It's just like what are we looking at here? Like once he got through his first read and this first read wasn't open, it's like panic to me. And you're better at looking at that stuff than me, but to me, that's what I saw.
I agree. I don't want to spend an hour talking about the quarterbacks.
We're not going to, because there's way more to talk about than just the
nothing
quarterback.
Here changed anything I've said over the past month.
Yeah.
The past 2 months, even, Colin. And it makes no sense to me because I see it across college football. I see it across sport. I'll say college football, where the coaches make mistakes. And, they're going to make mistakes. I understand it. Nobody's perfect. And, if we were coaches, we'd make plenty of mistakes too. I'm not saying we'd be perfect. But something like this feels obvious.
Yeah.
And like you said, I watched the first half. I watched the second half after the fact. You watch Chandler Rogers throw the ball, and you're like, okay, that's a quarterback.
Yeah, it looks different, completely different.
It looks like an actual starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that pisses me off, because I wasn't pissed off last week when they lost to Cal. And honestly, if you just showed me this result, I'd be annoyed, and I am annoyed. But watching Chandler Rogers throw the damn ball, now I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, what in the world did you see over the past month that made you think Stone Earl was the starting quarterback?
Yeah.
And then I think you said in the postgame, which another thing that pissed me off, North Texas not posting the postgame press conference.
Yeah.
Have some goal, have some guts, and post the Eric Morris postgame press conference like you did for Seth Luttrell the past 2-3 years when he was losing all those games. Post Eric Morris press conference. But apparently he said that Rogers was only winning the game because Earl got hurt.
Yeah, it was a quote in the DRC. The quote was, Stone was cramping up at halftime. We decided to go to Chandler. He did a great job. It was a last-minute change. He didn't have time to think about it. He went in there and moved the football.
Yeah, okay.
There is no way that's what made you make the change.
There's no way that's and there's no way that's the takeaway from what he did.
Yeah.
Because this is a different. Also, I think he's a better runner than Stone Earl.
Yeah, I don't know if they're probably just as fast, but he's way more elusive. And to get to the quarterback part, just so we don't spend too much time on this, 2 throws did it for me, where I was like, okay, I don't know how Stone Earl was picked. That 4th and 20, they come out of that timeout, and Chandler Rogers is in the pocket. He doesn't have his first read. Center field, boom, hits Damon Ward. Dead on the numbers. That same throw earlier was, behind the receiver that Stone Earl threw like 8 times.
Yeah.
Second throw, Damon Ward, back shoulder throw, boom, bang. Okay. Where was exactly exactly what you said? What are we doing? Like, where was any of this? Like, why? What did Stone show you? And I'm not trying to sit here and crap on Stone, because it's not fair to him. But what the coaches clearly did not see something, or I don't know. I don't know.
Something
Like
happened.
something happened.
This
Something
doesn't make any sense.
it doesn't make any sense. Exactly.
Because if Seth Trail had made this decision,
Or
can you
all
imagine
over
how
him.
pissed off we'd be?
All over
And so
him.
now that's why I'm pissed, because I
Yeah.
thought we got rid of this. I
Yeah.
thought we got the quarterback guru as the head coach.
Stone Earl,
And
10 to 20, 96 yards, 2 picks, should have been a third, 1 touchdown. Chandler Rogers, 11 to 15, 201 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Chandler Rogers averaged 13.5 yards. I'm assuming that's an attempt.
yeah,
And then Stone Earl averaged 4.8 yards an attempt.
yeah. Stone also had the fumble because he was holding the ball
Also
too
the
long
fumble.
and fumbled it. So yeah, to wrap up, quarterback position. Y'all asked me last week who I would start, and I said Chandler Rogers.
You did. I was wrong. I said Stone Earl. I was wrong. Way
Guys,
wrong.
this isn't rocket science. Go watch his ULM film.
Yeah.
He's a starting quarterback at North Texas. Like,
Yeah.
he's a better quarterback, and he was the better quarterback going into August.
Yeah.
This isn't a competition here. This is a better quarterback that's not getting played. That's what pisses me off. So that's the only thing that really pissed me off. Other than that, there's a lot functionally wrong with this team. There's a lot wrong with this team as far as a talent perspective goes, but we've covered that before. We've talked
Yeah.
about that at length before after the Cal game. The talent perspective is not going to change. The talent part of this team is just not good enough right now, defensively especially. But offensively, I think the offensive line is shaky, whereas we thought it was going to be a strength. Offensively, though, they put up 39 points. They 548 yards, like 7 yards per play. They were only 4 of 14 on third downs, which isn't good enough. They had the fourth down run up the middle, which is deflating. But ultimately, if they don't have the turnovers, the 3 Stone Earl turnovers, I think that they definitely win this game.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is I think the offensive line is still fine. I think the run game is definitely fine if you get the running backs going, and then you just need to figure out the quarterback position. So I overall, I think the offense is fine right now. I'm not worried about the offense at this moment, except for quarterback. Is that fair?
I completely agree with that. Yeah. I mean, find out if as long as Chandler Rogers is out there, then you figured it out.
Yeah. Jamar Macklin, Damon Ward. It's a fine receiver room. It's not great, but it's fine. Defensively is where I get again annoyed.
This is the worst defensive team I've seen ever in my life. We have obviously, we've been here. I've been here at least since 20. I saw the Portland State game is what I'm trying to say. We saw the Portland State game. People are asking if this is worth the Portland State loss. Portland State was a worse team than FIU, but damn, it sure did look similar in terms of how this team couldn't tackle. I mean, it was just one FIU rolls out a freshman quarterback. I don't care who the freshman quarterback is. This dude just hung 46 on you. The secondary is awful. There's no push up front. And the tackling. The tackling, man. The tackling. In caps, I have my notes. Cannot tackle.
Cannot tackle. Yeah. And then I tweeted out the picture, the screenshot of before Florida FIU's second touchdown, was it?
Second touchdown, I think it was.
When they came out in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, and I just took a screenshot, and it was a 5-man box for North Texas with the 3 safeties 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, the 2 corners out wide, and sure enough, the run goes for 20-yard touchdown. And I'm like, wow, I am shocked that this run went for a 20-yard touchdown, because you don't have anybody in the box.
Yeah.
This isn't rocket science. Again, and I understand I can't get deep into the weeds of Capone's system like some people can. Maybe JD, maybe other guys can get in the weeds a little bit more. But to me, he is hell-bent on playing this style, right? We've seen it for Cal. We saw it for FIU. So there was no changing this. My problem is, in both of those games, the clear strength for your opponent was the run game. That was my problem, was that neither team had good quarterbacks. And yet here we are. Like La Tech held FIU to 4 yards passing week 1
Yeah.
against Maine. Obviously, I think they passed for like 250 against Maine or something like that. But still, they scored 14 points against Maine. And now here we are, FIU, Florida International, posting 514 yards, 7.7 yards per play, 14.6 yards per reception. Like, where's the yards per rush? Do I have that on here? 6.4 yards per carry.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the talent. The linebackers are a huge concern. The safeties, the corners are fine, not great. The defensive line talent is basically negated because you're running 3 on 5 basically every play, and you have the 2 linebackers. So 7 blockers against 5 defensive players. Again, maybe I keep going back to they don't have the talent that matches the scheme, and they don't have the personnel to fit the scheme.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as much as I think you should install the scheme, yes, 100%, do it. But at the end of the day, I want to win a damn football game.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to reinvent the wheel and go into like a bear front or something, but at least put another dude in the box. Like surely you've prepared for that. Surely you've prepared for an FIU and Cal team that have running backs.
Yeah.
No. And then the tackling is also atrocious, like you said, because there was a run where I don't remember which running back it was for FIU carried like 4 dudes to the end zone.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah. You can't.
You're just like, okay, I guess that's fine.
Yeah,
whatever.
Game's over. You can't tackle.
Quickly, I'm just going to scroll through these questions. I'm not going to really, I don't think I'm going to ask them individually because a lot of them are kind of, overreactionary, whatever, which is what we do. It was what I do all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk a little big picture stuff.
But there are a couple ones that do exactly that, the big picture stuff.
I think it's fair.
I think let's just get rid of this one straight out of the way. Coach Morris is not going to get fired.
No, there's nothing he can do this year.
Yeah, there's nothing he could do to get fired. So
nothing.
I want everyone to get at that out of their minds. I think it's unfair to call him the worst hire in FBS because it's game 2. People, I mean, I'm just reading the thing.
Look, let me say this real quick. I don't know if this answers any questions.
Yep.
No matter how bad Eric Morris does this year, that does not change the firing of Seth Littrell.
Correct.
Nothing changes why you fire Seth Littrell. You do not fire Seth Littrell to be good in 2023. You don't even fire Seth Littrell to be good in 2024. You fire Seth Littrell because you had 6-7 years to reach his ceiling, and you did reach his ceiling, which we all agree as a community was not good enough.
Yeah.
Will Eric Morris reach a higher ceiling? I don't know, but we have to try.
Yep.
Going to the American, we had to try. So that's the only thing I'm going to say about that. And I'm not going to address that again. Talking to all y'all people out there.
Yeah.
Like, I understand that's every single team in the country wants to fire their head coach after a loss. LSU wants to fire Brian Kelly after a Florida State loss. Like, I understand that's how this goes, but you're not firing him this year, and you're not firing him next year. I don't care if he goes 2-12 or 2-10, 2-10. You're not firing him after 2 years. After that, then we have a discussion because you get into the weeds. But this has nothing to do with the firing of Seth Littrell. Cool. Seth Littrell would have beaten FIU. Awesome. We probably would have gone 5-7 this year, 6-6 this year. And then we'd be in the same situation looking for a head coach. So that's all I'm going to say on all that.
That answered a lot of those questions. So thank you for doing that, Bruni, so succinctly. One of the questions that I think is interesting is it's time to hit the panic button. And should the coaches still try to fit these players into their scheme despite them not being the players for their scheme? We kind of talked about that a little bit last week.
Cool. I have a question for you. What was your take on the run game?
About the run game, I mean, honestly, it's what it was so back and forth. Like you can't keep running the ball. Like the run game itself wasn't that bad. I mean, they had 40. I guess you take away Stone and Chandler Rogers. That's 13 carries. So you had 33 carries for 100 and something yards. I mean, it's fine. It wasn't great. But, I mean, also you have no momentum. That game was so back and forth. What are you supposed to do? There was no rhythm. Or I feel like run game, like when we see the run game go with Seth, there's rhythm. That was just like, we got to score some points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Shout out Oscar Attaway.
Yeah.
Getting a touchdown, first touchdown in a couple of years, I believe. I actually don't know how long ago it was,
I have
but
no idea either.
yeah, shout out to Oscar Attaway for getting back. Long road back. I mean, to answer the question, I think defensively more than anything, it's tough. Offensively, I'm not worried about this team scoring points.
Yeah,
I
they're gonna
know they
score
didn't
points.
score points against Cal, but if you start Chandler Rogers, you're going to score points.
Yep,
I'm
agreed.
not worried about that. Against Louisiana Tech and Abilene Christian, they'll score points on offense. The question is, can you get a damn stop? And they don't have the linebackers to run the scheme. They probably don't have the safeties to run the scheme. Probably don't have the corners to run the scheme. So, and I'm again not claiming that I know the ins and out of what Capone's running, but I've seen enough football and talked to enough coaches to know kind of how they operate.
Yeah,
And this doesn't feel like you're tailoring the defense to them, which again, I'm not saying he should, but you're playing teams that can't throw the ball and you're running a 5-man box with the safeties 20 yards back. I mean, I don't know. What do I
yeah.
know? I'm the one watching the
Just
20-yard run
yeah,
go
yeah, exactly.
untouched.
We're
Like, what
watching
do
him
I
get
know?
gashed. Here's a question for you because I found it interesting. Watching the game, obviously they went for it a lot on fourth down. The 4th and 20 could have gone really bad. You could have lost the game with plenty of time left. To me, that shows that this defense is never going to have the trust of Eric Morris because it was 27-38. I think there was 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter. You could punt it. You could hope for a stop. But I feel like, honestly, the 4th and 20 going for it, even after you got the penalty on that 4th down call. So it was, I don't remember if you watched it. Chandler Rogers ran. It was called back. They have to redo that 4th and 20 or 4th and 10 to 4th and 20. And they do it again. Are we going to see it a lot this year, do you think? In terms of the defense just not being trusted?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an offensive head coach, young coach, probably has analytics behind him, stuff like that. We'll see how creative he can get, but 4 of 14 on third downs, 2 of 4 is on fourth down. That's not good enough either way.
Yeah.
So
True. Big thing for me too, the punt at the end of the game, Bruni. Brought out some things on Twitter. They could have had 12 seconds. Thoughts?
Go ahead. Go into depth into what you think.
Okay, I'll just explain what happened first. They could have had 12 seconds to throw the ball. Basically, FIU punted with 12 seconds left, and they just kind of let the clock run out. People on Twitter were like, why didn't they even try to do anything? Obviously, I don't think they probably would have won the game, but is it kind of like a weird – I just never seen it before, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on in that game that I didn't really understand. So.
Same. That's what I mean. It's like I don't know what's happening.
There's just nobody feels comfortable right now.
Yeah, and that's what it feels like. It feels like it's.
Which I understand. It's year one. Like I don't.
Yeah.
Again, as bad as this loss is, you're not going to get me on here yelling for people's heads. You're just not.
And I don't think that's fair. And I want to sure that's clear from us as well, because, like you said, it doesn't change Seth Luttrell getting fired. Like, he had to get fired. This is your attempt at trying to do something better than that, and it's unfair to gauge somebody after two games. Because I know I don't see the time, 18 minutes. Quickly at the end of this, I don't think they're going to go 0-12. I would hope they don't go 0-12. People asked us to redo our thing, our schedule. I don't really care to go all the way through it, but I will say that I think they win these next 2 games.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think they win these 2 games, and I think they win 2 conference games, 4-8.
4-8,
which sounds optimistic right now.
It sounds optimistic, but yeah,
Chandler Rogers gets some snaps. I think they can.
I just feel like this is the low. Like, this is the lowest, right? Like, you can't go lower than this.
You can always go lower.
I mean, I guess I saw 2015.
Look, La Tech beat the hell out of this FIU team. I know scoreboard wise they didn't. Like, scoreboard wise they.
Oh yeah, but on paper
they beat the shit out of them.
FIU had 4 yards passing.
Like, this next. Okay, here's what I'll say. This next game is the season. La Tech is the season. This is the point we've reached. Like, we probably should have saved that for the preview podcast, but like, this is the season. Make or break. Either you're going 1-11, or you can win 4 games this year.
Either you're going 1-11. You're giving them a win if they lose to La Tech.
They'll beat Abilene. They'll beat ACU at home.
You sure?
Yeah. I don't know. Probably. Let me see. Cal's beating Auburn on the bright side. I mean,
Is that bright though? Does that mean FIU are world beaters?
rank FIU. All right. Abilene Christian is currently 2-0. Beat Northern Colorado and Prairie View. They beat Prairie View by 30 on the road. They play Incarnate Word next week, who's ranked number 10 in FCS. We'll see.
Here's a question: does number 10 FCS school beat North Texas right now?
That's a good question. It's a great question. Eric Morris's alma mater, or not alma mater, first head coaching job, Incarnate Word.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I don't think so. There are a lot of overreaction, but I think we're good.
Do you have any overreactions? Do you have anything that like you're?
I mean, sure, I could go into some rabbit holes, but I think we're fine. I think it's good to keep it where it's at because I don't want to make the people go into a dark place. All I'm saying is that two things to take away from this podcast. It's unfair to judge Eric Morris after 2 games. This hopefully is the low point.
Yeah.
Hopefully this is the low point, and you can only go up from here, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right. We will be back on Thursday to preview the biggest game of the year, North Texas versus Louisiana Tech.
Conference USA rematch. Shout out Conference USA just absolutely dunking on North Texas, by the way. Just like, I hated watching that stream. CUSA on ESPN. Garbage. Get out of here.
Realignment has all the conferences being hostile right now.
I will say it is really frustrating to watch Rice beat Houston, UTSA beat Texas State. We can just go down the list of all those games.
Houston sucks too. I'm not putting too much in that, but yeah, it is.
Okay. Is North Texas beating Houston?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But I'm just saying Houston's not very good right now. But yes, I understand your sentiment. Rice, Houston, Tulane pushed Ole Miss for 3.5 quarters. Whew. UTSA doesn't look great nowadays, though. I don't know.
It's like Rice still beat a Big 12 team. Like it's not like it's like
you're right. You're right. You're not wrong.
It's crazy.
Okay. We'll be back later in the week to preview La Tech North Texas. Let us know what you think down below. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Like, comment, share, subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter, Green Room UNT. Thank you to everybody who's followed us over there. I think we're like 350.
Also, use the code on Home Field there.
Also, use the code MGreen on Home Field Apparel to get 15% off. That code works for any school. If you have a friend or a parent or a loved one that is a fan of another school, or maybe just wants to have a second team just in case North Texas goes 0-12, buy them a shirt. 15% off your first use, 10% off every use after that. Thank y'all for joining us, and we will talk to y'all later. Try not to burn down Denton until then.